Good morning, guys. I started going over your quizzes from Friday on the satire, the wealthy teen kid that got drunk and then hurt a whole family and didn't get in any trouble. Just based on the ones that I started grading, I thought I better stop and go over that again because we're seem to be having some problems. Just a quick reminder: satire is the author is giving their point of view in a roundabout way. Remember that looking at an they're looking at a story. It may or may not be real. Most of them are not going to be real. Okay, keep that in mind. And targeting something in society that they think needs to change. So what you need to do when you are going over this is make sure that you realize one thing I think we're missing is what is real and what isn't real. And I want you to be able to explain that. That's part of analyzing satire, just to recognize whether something is real or not. Okay, we're picking up on the sarcasm and the irony better, it looks like, but we're not, at least I'm not seeing whether you understand that what is real and what isn't real. Okay, so part of satire is recognizing what is incongruous or what doesn't quite make sense, it doesn't quite fit, and being able to pick up on that so that you know that it's satire. So let's look at this. This is the last question on that quiz. It says, in a substantial paragraph, explain the satire of this article. Cite evidence to support your answer. Okay, don't just answer these questions individually. They should be answered together as part of one paragraph. Explain the satire. You need to explain it. What is or isn't real? What is the target? What makes it humorous? Okay, I think we're getting the target okay, but I can't tell based on your answers whether you understand this is not a real story. Okay, the quotes and stuff used in the story are definitely not something somebody would say, I hope. Anyway, it's not a real story. Okay, you need to pick up on that, and you need to let me know that in your answers so I know that you're picking up on the satire. So he says, how does the author use irony, sarcasm, hyperbole? Identify and explain at least two specific examples. And since you need to, according to this, cite evidence, that might be a good place to do it, guys. What is the author's true message? What change is the author trying to promote in society? How effective is the satire in making the author's point? So would the message be more effective if the author had just written a serious piece about privileged rich people? Could they just written, oh, here's how people get away with stuff? How is it effective to do this in a humorous way? Some of you explained that. Some of you just said, this was very effective, and then moved on. That doesn't explain anything to me. That's just giving a BS answer real quick. Do you agree with the satire? If you just say, yes, I do, that doesn't give me anything either. I need to know what you're thinking here. So here's some examples I pulled off of your quizzes. This one I scored 6 out of 12. That's a pretty big answer, but it doesn't cover everything. Okay, the author uses many examples of satire throughout the story. The target of the story is privileged rich people who don't deserve what they get. So first of all, examples of satire, the whole thing is satire. You need to recognize that. It's not just that they're throwing some sarcasm in this real story. The whole thing is not a real thing. It's not a real story. The whole article is made up to make a point. You need to realize that. It's not just throwing some examples of satire in there. It's not just throwing some sarcasm, I think is what this student was trying to say. The target of the story is privileged rich people who don't deserve what they get. That's true. The fact that the kid who caused the problem didn't suffer any punishment at all is insane. That's true. It also didn't really happen, so keep that in mind. The author uses irony when he says he could have died or worse, been held accountable for his actions. This is humorous because they explain that he could have died or been held accountable for his actions, but neither of those things happened, which you'd expect to. So that's what makes it ironic, is you would expect that to happen, but it didn't happen. So I explained that right there for this student. The student should have explained it to me. Another example of irony is when the author says, to think that I was that close to saying that there is an entire society with its own laws and standards outside my protected sphere of wealth and privilege, it's frightening. So again, we've got an example here. Wentworth said, it also makes you consider your actions and their impact on others almost. This is ironic because the kid never changed, and just explained the kid never changed and you would expect him to. That's what makes it ironic. As you expect something to happen, it doesn't happen. Just make sure you explain that. The author is trying to teach us to care about everyone, especially poor people, instead of focusing all of our time on the undeserving rich. Good, that is correct. He teaches us about satire in an effective way. Well, what way? What makes it effective? I want to hear it. And I agree with the satire in the story. Why do you agree with it? Okay. So what I did was I just scored each of these bullet points out of 2. Okay. Do you agree with the satire? Didn't get a real answer there. What affected? How is it effective? Didn't get an answer. What changes the author trying to promote? I did get an answer there. Was the author's true message? That one I got. Got part of that answer and partial of that answer because it didn't explain fully what they meant. Okay, these are substantial. When I say substantial, I mean substantial. Okay, big paragraphs that explain everything. So let's see if I remember how I scored this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What was it? Nope, I screwed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, I didn't give you points on that. So 6 on those first 4. Okay, there's another one. This one only got 5 points out of 12. This article's target is the undeserving, privileged elite of society. Okay, true. Makes you focus more on the rich people because he does not want a thing to do with the poor. He doesn't care for them at all. He uses irony because it says that a near fatal car accident would change someone for the better and flips these expectations to create that. That's just taking that out of one of my multiple choice answers there. That Charles is a spoiled and wants to get his way. That rich people and poor people are not that much different. They are still people. It is effective because it says you can make an impact on someone's life. Okay, we're starting to get an answer there. It's sounding better. Again, don't have any direct quotes really, other than using my words from a multiple choice answer. So make sure you're quoting. Okay, and I'm probably being generous and giving that one a 5, but we'll try. We're learning. That's why we're doing this. Okay, this last one came really close, 11 out of 12. Explained the satire almost. Didn't say whether it was real or not, and I want you to recognize that. That's why I put that in the bullet point. Explain the satire, what is or isn't real. Okay, I put it there so that you would do it. Throughout the entire passage, they talk about the rich kid, how he was not to blame, that he did nothing wrong. Okay, we've got an answer here. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you're kind of getting the idea. So, sorry I have my face on here. I was just trying to see if it would work. Don't look at my face. It's creepy. You would do that. So, here's what you're doing on this assignment. If it pulls up. There we go. Okay, this is an article I pulled off of the internet just the other day by the Onion. It's a satirical website. Trump administration releases best case scenario projections for coronavirus where 8 million Iranian people die. Okay, think about what he's saying there and whether he would really say that, if that was a real quote. Okay, that's all you got to read is this one paragraph. Is this a real news report? Whoops, I better fix that, hadn't I? Is this a real news report? What is one line that indicates that this is not a real news report? How can you tell? That's what I'm seeing we're having problems with, so I want to see it. And then, in the substantial paragraph, explain the satire of this article. Cite evidence to support your answer. Don't just answer these questions individually. This is a paragraph. Okay, A, explain the satire. What is or isn't real? What is the target? What makes it humorous, etc.? Don't say that Iran's the target, guys, because they want to bomb them. Okay, use your brain. What's the author trying to make fun of here? How does the author use irony, sarcasm, hyperbole? Identify it and explain it, please. I want you to explain to me. How does irony work, for example? What is hyperbole? Hyperbole is an exaggeration. Like, for example, does a certain president really want everybody to die in a country? Where that would be hyperbole. Is that an exaggeration? There's an example. Okay. Irony is when you expect one thing to happen and something else happens, or you expect something to be said and something else is said. What's the author's true message? What is the author trying to promote in society? What change? How effective is the satire? Okay, and why? And do you agree with the satire and why? Okay, so please do yourself a favor and do this. Take your time on it. Do it well. It's not a long article. I got a short one so you can focus on a good long analysis. Now, is it possible in this kind of writing that your analysis could be longer than the article itself? Yes, because you're explaining what they're talking about. So take your time, get this done, and then email it to your friends. Oh, wait, no, don't. Don't email it to your friends, please. That would be cheating. I want to see if you can do it, and we don't want you to all get zeros on it. So good luck. Have fun.